Now, all right, we're recording. We're recording. So, guys, I'm gonna put my controller away because I don't need to play on it anymore or use it. So, guys, welcome to Step 4. To the Trackmania Grand League Step 4. We're currently in the warm-up phase, and I will talk you guys through what is gonna happen for this step right here, okay? So, taking a quick look at the maps that we're gonna play, because I actually forgot to show you guys that. Look at these maps, okay? These are the maps that we're gonna be playing here. On the Edge by Poolside, Pole Party by Hasto, Vertigo by Poolside, Poolside by Kaesla, and Launchpad by Ubisoft Nadeo. And we're gonna be playing these maps. The first 4 maps are gonna be 6 rounds or 6 laps, 1 round of 6 laps. And then the last map, we're gonna have 8 rounds of 2 laps, okay? The first 4 maps, that's where you're gonna get all your points. The last map is the multiplier, as you can see right here. No, that's not the thing. That's the thing. So, with that being said, guys, we're gonna be jumping into the first map very, very soon. So let's take a look at the first map right here by looking into our... Oh, whoops. Here. This is how the first map looks, guys. The first map starts with a downhill on a dirt section, then a left-handed drift. You want to make sure you don't overdrift too much because you really need to get that speed. You want to use that speed to accumulate onto it here, all the way until you get into a left-handed drift section. Use the exit speed from that drift section to drive over the penalty grass and get into a pinhead turn. Utilize as much of the road on that pinhead turn as possible to maintain that exit speed. Getting a jump transition into a dirt section and then a tight right-handed turn into a tech section. Here in the tech section, you really want to make sure you are conservative with the drifts, because the more you drift, the more speed you lose. Also, into a U-turn with a reactor boost, giving you more speed into yet another U-turn on a dirt part. Trying to maintain that upper gear on the dirt part, because you want as much speed going out of here into this engine off section. Because in the engine off section, you of course can't accelerate anymore. So the speed you go in with, the speed you have. And this is the identity. This is where people are gonna bonk. This is where people are gonna accidentally hit the outside. And this is where you're gonna accidentally lose multiple seconds. Boom. So that's what we're doing. Guys, it's gonna be very, very, very interesting to watch. Okay? If we still have a couple of minutes before the actual map starts. We have 1 minute, and then we're gonna jump into it. For this map right here, I am looking to see if Granati can pull things off once again. You can also see all the hearts beside the players. You can go ahead and vote on the players that you like. So, with that being said, guys, I think we're gonna jump into the first map. Let me just drink some water. Guys, this is gonna be great. You can see how Bren is gonna take a more inside approach right here. Oh, unfortunately hitting the pole, but that's fine. It is the warm-up, but he does show us just how to do it. Getting into this engine off section with as much speed as possible, because you can accelerate even more. This is a very momentum heavy based section of the map. The speed you enter this section with is the speed it's the speed you're gonna have for the rest of the section. We're gonna see multiple people absolutely bonk here in the ending, because it's so tight, and because it's an engine off section, that means that if you have more speed than an opponent, they're not going to catch up to your speed. So if you enter that section with more speed, you're going to overtake people. And it's a risk you've got to take. And now we're heading into the warm-up with a 1 minute. I got baited. I thought this was the actual game. But this is not the game yet. We still have a minute-long warm-up. That means that we can actually take a quick look into the presentation again. This is not the way the map is played. This is a quick overview of the map. The map is a very, very, well, it's a very, very risky tight map, and it's a very precise map. There's not a lot of places where you're gonna bonk except for the identity, but there's places where you can utilize better drifts mechanics, better dirt lines to get a little bit, you know, those tenths of a second better than the others, and that's what's gonna add up throughout the map. Furthermore, we have the identity that we're gonna see the players come up to here in a second, where they're gonna absolutely risk as much as possible to get the identity as fast as possible. You can see here they're all entering it with kind of the same speed, but you can risk it. And if you risk it by doing those tight drifts right there, that's where you gain the speed. That's where you gain the time. But if you accidentally hit a corner, if you accidentally hit the inside edge right there, you are going to have to make a snap decision. Am I going to reset from the CP, or am I going to drive for the rest of the map and just have to take those seconds off? And we're going to see players do a little bit of a different approach depending on what they think is the smartest. If you crash right before the goal, fine. You're going to have to just drive the rest. But if you crash in the beginning of the identity, we're going to see people go back into the CP. But look in here, in the first round of the TMGL Step 4, first lap, we're going to take a look at Binks, the keyboard player on a laptop, one of the youngest players as well, and he's currently in P1, or at least fighting for P1, but the whole field is very, very close, going into the pinhead turn. Oh, and Binks, unfortunately, not getting the turn that he wants and hits the outside wall. He's going to drop down in positions right here, all the way down into last place, actually, at least fighting for last place. Taking a look at the top 4 positions, we have Gwen, Carl Jr., Scrappy, and Masa. And Gwen doing some very, very clean drift lines here. Going into the first U-turn, getting the booster, going into the second U-turn. We're going to see if they can keep the upper gear here. Want to make sure that they exit this turn with as much speed as possible. Going into the engine off section, we have Afi, Scrappy, and Gwen here in the top pack as well, fighting for that top position. Is anybody going to make a mistake in the first identity on lap 1 here? I think everybody does it pretty cleanly. We have a mistake here. We have one mistake. I didn't see who that was. I think it was Carl Jr. with a mistake. And Binks as well. They have to take the safe line into lap 2. We once again have Masa and Afi and Pack, Gwen here on the top. Names that we're definitely going to see multiple times in the top positions right here. Pack leading the race with a 0.2 of a lead. We want to see these guys utilize as much of the road as possible to get a lot of exit speed. You see Masa here doing it super well, taking a little bit more of an edge towards Gwen here. And we're going to see them go into this tech section once again. Pag in the lead, making sure that he's not losing any time, but actually getting a little bit better of a drift right here. And Masa and Gwen both catching up to him. Gwen actually trying to push it very, very much. Unfortunately, does not get the full push that he wants to, but there's definitely a good race here for the top 3. Looking at the top 9 people, the players definitely want to make sure that they get the top 8 positions. If you get the top 8 positions, we're talking the difference between 15 points on top 8 till 5 points on top 9. So that's the Scrappy making a mistake, unfortunately clipping the inside, and he's going to lose so many positions, dropping down to P12, I think. Unfortunate for Scrappy. We might have seen him just risk a little bit too much, but that's what I said. You want to risk that identity because it's going to give you so much time, but also if you accidentally hit anything, you're going to lose multiple seconds and multiple positions. Taking a look at Grenadi right here, fighting for that top 8 position right behind Kappa. Jumping into the transition on the dirt here, going in for the tight right-hander. Don't want to clip anything right there. And we have a little bit of a tech section right here. A lot of players here just like Spam, like Carl Jr., a lot of the oldies but goldies, a lot of the people with a lot of experience. They're all very, very good at these tech sections because back in the day, tech was the primary focus in the competitive scene. So they have all the muscle memory, they have all the experience on the tech, whereas players like Mutta, unfortunately, Mutta is in Div or P16 here. Mutta, who has gotten into the competitive scene, TMGL a little later. This is only the second TMGL. He has less experience on the tech, but that does not matter because he's still showing us some really promising steps, and hopefully he can keep the pace up here in Step 4. Spam has fought his way up until P5. That's very nice to see. driving over the penalty grass section up until the pinhead. Very nice. I remember Spam missing one of the pinhead turns in a previous Tmgl where he missed a Neo slide, and he promptly chose to do a 12-hour long Neo slide map to make sure he never does that again. And so far, that pinhead turn looks very nice for them. Hairpin turn, I'm sorry. Looking at Masa and Gwen here in first and second place. Pak on third. Afi on fourth. Let's see if there's any major any major stirrups in the position here in the top 4 positions here. Looking into the identity, going super close. Afi, I think, clipped the inside, and Pak getting a lot better speed. Masa and Gwen both doing it surprisingly well, and everybody in the top 3 is doing it cleanly. Anybody else making any mistakes? We see Tween getting down in the positions, Kaba going down, Mudda getting up to P13, very, very nice to see. Scrappy is back up to P8, even though he lost so much in the previous identity. Very, very nice to see. Papu just ahead of him, going into the hairpin turn once again. Very, very nice. Nobody making any major mistakes. We have a 2-second differential between top 8 and top 1. Gwen definitely driving a super nice pace. A 109.7 from Pak is also a very, very nice lap time. Looking into the next U-turn right here. Gwen and Masa trying to extend the lead down to the rest of the pack. It's funny because his name is Pak. Did not mean to do that. But Pak is 0.6 behind Gwen. Bren is a second behind. Taking a look at the top 4 in the identity once again. Nobody making any major mistakes. No caster's curse this time. Definitely cleanly driven by everybody here. Anybody else making any mistakes? I think it looks fine. All of the top 8 got through the identity cleanly. Very, very nice to see. I know it doesn't really look that bad because these players definitely make the identity look smooth as butter, but I'm telling you guys, it's very, very difficult to drive this identity cleanly, especially if you have a lot of speed. Scrappy once again fighting for that top 8 position. Less than 1/10 of a second between him and Binks. Let's see if he can overtake, get a little bit of a wobbly line, but he does that on purpose to maintain as much ground contact as possible so he can keep accelerating. Binks and Scrappy in a very, very tight fight, and Spam right in front of them. Scrappy going for a little bit more of an inside line, does not get as much exit speed as he wants to. Gets a wider line than Binks here. I don't know if that's going to make it better for him. He's actually not really overtaking, not gaining any speed on Binks. Taking a look at the top 4 positions once again for the identity. Everybody seems to be doing it just fine. No major mistakes. Pak really going close to the inside right there, but everybody seems to be doing it just fine. And we have the top 4 with no major mistakes. Afi making no mistake because this was literally the last the last round, and Gwen making it. Masa on second, Pak on third, Bren on fourth, Grenadi on fifth, Afi on sixth, Spam and Scrappy 7th and 8th. I almost missed that was the last round. I almost missed it, but I didn't. Don't worry about it. Definitely well played by the top players, and we're gonna jump into the second map, guys. The second map is called Pool Party, and let's take a quick look at how the map is supposed to be driven right here, okay? Let's do that right now. Pool Party by Hasto. It's a very consistent map, but we have a few sections called the identity sections that are going to be very, very difficult. You start off with a jump over here. If you don't have enough speed, which can happen, you're going to have to take a safe line. It's going to lose you multiple seconds. Then we get into a little bit of a safe section and a left-handed dirt turn. Right here, you want to maintain the speed because you can accidentally not get enough speed and bonk the wall here, and that's going to lose you multiple seconds once again. Then we're going to go into a U-turn, followed by another U-turn, followed by the first part of the identity, where you drive through these pillars right here. This is a very, very scary section of the map, but trust me, these players have made it look easy the previous steps, and they're going to make it look easy once again. These players have practiced this so much. This is a very, right here, a very momentum-heavy based section of the map. The speed you go into this section with is the speed that you're going to build on top of, because there's no way there's no place in that section that you actually let go of the accelerator. So that's why it's a momentum-heavy section of the map, and that's why we're gonna see players overtake each other right there. Going into 2 more U-turns, followed by the next identity right here. And this identity features another engine-off section. So if you accidentally hit one of the poles in that engine-off section, you're gonna lose multiple seconds, and that's what I mean. Let's take a look. People are actually doing it right here. You can see Pack is gonna jump straight down here into the grass part after the identity section. And if you don't get the identity section perfectly, you can't do that jump, and then you can't do the subsequent jump, and you're gonna lose a lot of time. So let's hope people are gonna do this cleanly. Taking a look at Afi here in the beginning. Everybody is neck and neck. Of course, in the beginning, there's not much to be done wrong. But Afi does seem to take that first place already. Aurel right in the middle of the pack. We're seeing players only 0.2 away from each other. We unfortunately have Pack with a major mistake in the start. No, Pack 10 seconds behind already. You hate to see it. Pack has got to push it if he wants to take home just a few points. Kaba here on P9. You can see the field, just how close it is in front of Kaba here, going into the momentum heavy section of the map. Pack winning this the last time. Unfortunately, Pack couldn't keep the pace he had from the last step on this map, and he's gonna be in the last position right here. Kaba finding his way up to P7. You can see these players are going to try to enter that section without drifting, because if you drift while entering the transition, you're going to lose a little bit of speed. Going into the second part of the identity right here, let's see if anybody is going to make any mistakes. Kappa here on 8th. We have a mistake by Papu. Unfortunately, Papu hits a corner, and he's going to lose a bunch of speed and a bunch of time, jumping all the way down into P15. Unlucky for Papu right there. Kappa is now on P8 still. Other players get pushed up. Gwen all the way up until P2. Afi on P1. Definitely looking nice for the top 3 players right here. Afi has made a 0.2 lead on the pack here. Very, very nicely done. Mutta on P9 fighting for P8 with Granati into the first section of this identity. Everybody does it cleanly. The whole pack does it great. Going into the momentum heavy base section of the map. Two right-handed drifts right here onto the road section. One jump followed by a few turns and a drift. The positions aren't really going to sway too much here, because this is a very safe section of the map. Now we can see a little bit of the sway in times here. If anybody makes a mistake hitting the inside line right here, everybody does it super nicely. Getting the U-turn followed by the second U-turn. Nicely done into the identity for the second time. Is anybody gonna make a mistake? Once again, we see everybody doing it super cleanly. Beautifully done by the first 8 players of the pack here. Super, super well done. You love to see it. Smooth as butter. Mutta here, unfortunately, only with 1 point to his name. Really trying to push in onto the top 8 positions right here. Afi still holding on to that P1. 0.1 ahead of Binks, who is in P2. Very nicely done. Binks and Afi actually neck and neck right here. Did Binks really catch up to Afi just like that? Very, very nicely done. 0.3 ahead of the rest of the game. And everybody does it once again. Everybody does it so cleanly, like butter with the first identity. And we're heading into the more safe section of the map. Looking at Spam here, just behind. 0.8 away from the top 8 positions. This is once again the safe section of the map. We're not going to see too many mistakes, but if we do see a mistake, it's going to cost you greatly, because it is a momentum-heavy base section of the map, right? Following Mutta in the top 8 here at the last section of the map. 2 more U-turns till we get into the identity once again. Let's take a look at the top 8, seeing if anybody does any mistakes. I think everybody seems to be doing it just fine. And it's smooth as butter once again. Beautifully done by the first 8 players of the map here. Scrappy trying to overtake Mutta for the P8. They're really, really trying to fight for that P8 right here. Remember that it's a difference between 10 points. 15 points for P8. 5 points for P9. You really want to make sure you get that top 9 players here within 1 second of each other. We're seeing some very close racing right here. 4.5 minutes of racing and only 1 second differentiates the top 8 players. Very nice. Top 9 players here. Oh, we see Binks making a mistake. Unfortunately, Binks hit a pole and he's gonna be pushed down all the way to P12, which gives Mutta the P8 position that he was looking for, but he has to maintain the pace if he wants to keep it there. But Binks, unfortunately, hitting that pole, jumping all the way down in the field. P13 called Junior overtaking him on P12. Scrappy and Mutta fighting for that 7th and 8th place. Tween right behind them, trying to get that top 8 place. Going into the identity section once again. It's a very tight field. It looks like everybody's doing just fine. Nobody hitting anything. Very nicely done by the top 9 players of the field here. Spam right behind Tween. Really want to make sure that he gets a good step here as well. He needs a good step. And hopefully we see Spam finally get one of those multipliers that he's looking for in the last map of this step. But we'll have to wait and see with that one. Grenadi has already fought himself all the way up to P5, fighting with Massa for that P4. They're neck and neck right here, the 2 German players. Oh, Bren has made a mistake. Bren clipped the inside of the turn, and he's going to lose so much speed. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about because this is the momentum-heavy base section of the map. This is what we were worried about. If you make a mistake there, you're going to lose not just the mistake you made, but the momentum you could have had throughout that section of the map. Unfortunate that Bren had to lose a little bit of time on that. Mutta and Scrappy, 8th and 7th place. Tween right behind them, trying to get that a little bit more speed, making sure you don't drift that much on this dirt section right here. Getting a tight line on the U-turn, another tight line on the second U-turn, and then you got to drive the identity without touching anything. I think Mutta unfortunately making a mistake, and he's gonna jump down in positions as well. Unfortunate, and Spam is now 1 step closer to that top 8. Tween getting that top 9 position. Very nice to see for him. He also needs it in this step. Only 2 points to his name. He definitely can risk it a little bit for the biscuit here. Massa, Afi, and Gwen still fighting for that top. Grenadi is also in the mix. To the right-handed tight turn right here. Want to make sure Grenadi actually got a little bit more of a drift than I think he needed. Getting a little bit less speed than Massa here. Losing a little bit of time. Let's go, Massa, indeed. Massa here on P3, trying to get up to Afi and Gwen, but Afi and Gwen really holding a 0.4 lead to the rest of the pack right here. Definitely a good showing by Afi and Gwen in the top 1 and top 2 positions. Spam is now a second behind Tween. He must have done something to lose him a little bit of time. Mutta is 2 seconds behind Spam, so it's really Spam and up that we're looking for after this 7 minutes of driving, and the players are still 1.5 seconds close to each other. Let's take a look at the top 4 going into the last identity. We have Afi and Gwen in the top 2. Afi, is he going to overtake? Almost. Afi actually overtakes by 0.04 of a second. Afi gets the win of the map. Gwen gets second. Massa third. Grenadi fourth. Kappa fifth. Spren 6th. Scrappy 7th. And Tween 8th. Mutta actually getting that 9th place. We see Spam making a mistake, getting the 11th, Aurel 10th, called Junior, Worker, Pack, Binks, and Papu all the way down to 16th. Very nice to see Afi getting that very slight snipe at the very ending of the map. Very nice to see. Good job. Okay. We're jumping into the next map. Top 8 for Tween too. Yeah, if I remember correctly, Tween has not done too great lately and only have gotten a couple of top 8 positions. Oh, I got baited. It's right. It's the clash time, guys. It's clash time. We are going to control a car and we're going to try our best to see if we can win clash time, guys. Who are we going to play as? That's a good question. So, as you can see on screen, during the break, you will be able to control your favorite TMGL player's car. We have to cooperate and cross as many checkpoints as we can. Plus is accelerate, minus is brake. We can drive to the left, to the right, or we can respawn. But respawning is only for the mods. So, hopefully we can do great here in the clash time, guys. I believe in us. We're 6,000 people strong. We can definitely get this clash time working. Okay, 8 seconds to go, boys. I'm looking forward to seeing just how well you guys can cooperate in chat. Okay, we're playing as Papu. Okay, we slide left, slide left. Keep in mind the delay. Keep in mind the delay. Okay, no, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Just straight left, left. Just a little bit left, guys. I see a lot of forwards. Oh, and a right. We need to go 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 right. Oh my god. Oh, you could. I think this calls for a respawn, guys. Or we head back. We're currently driving straight into a wall here. I think we might need to respawn, boys. Oh. Oh, we're playing as Tween. Oh my god, respawn! Respawn, guys! Okay, just go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Just drive, guys, drive. We can do this, don't worry. Left, a little bit left, just a little bit left. Okay, straight, straight, straight. Just keep going straight, guys. Okay, never mind. I lied to you. We have to respawn. Don't worry. We got it next time. Third time's the charm. Can somebody press respawn? Nice. Okay. No, don't go right. Don't go right. Don't go right. Don't. Okay, no, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Just straight, 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 straight. Oh, we got the first checkpoint. Get ready to drive left. Left. And there's a right-hander right after this left-handed turn. Okay? So left. Left. Yes, and there's a right-hander right here. Right. We can overtake so many people. We can overtake so many people. Oh. Keep going right. Keep going right. Keep going right. Keep going right. No, don't. Back. Okay. Continue right. Forward and right. Forward and right. Forward and right. No, not backwards and right. That's the wrong thing to do. Forwards and right. Oh, you got it. You got it. You got it. Oh, this is not good. Okay, we have to keep it right. And oh, this is too hard. I think we need to respawn, boys. I think we need to respawn. We're stuck. We're stuck. Oof. Alright, left and a right. A left and a right, guys. A left and a right. There's so many people stuck in the start. First left. Keep in mind the delay, guys. Keep in mind the delay. And then a right. And then a right. And then a right. And then a right. Right? Oh. Okay. No, straight. Just go straight. Just go straight. Just go straight. Just go straight. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Okay. See, we're top 8 now. We're top 8. Nice. And a long straight section. A long straight section. Okay. There's a long straight section. We can make it up. We can overtake Massa. He's driving backwards? What is he doing? Oh, it's fine. Don't worry. Massa's chat is doing something. But we overtook Massa for the P7. Very, very nice, guys. Good job. Good job. Oh, you love to see it. Well played, boys. Well played. Okay, guys. Boys, we're going into the next map. This map is called Vertigo. And we're going to check out a little presentation of it, boys. Vertigo by Poolside here. This map is semi-consistent for most of the map, but what is going to really make people sweat is the identity. The identity is a super sketchy pipe section. So we see a couple of left-handed turns on the dirt, a jump down. You want to land early on the downhill right here to preserve as much speed as possible. Then we have a wall ride into the first pipe. Now these pipes are what define this map here. Now we have a left-hander into the rest of the pipe sections. One pipe, another pipe. Make sure you don't fall off. You want to make sure that you turn on the pipe in such a way that the car gets pushed down into the pipe. Then we have an engine off section right here. Make sure you enter the engine off section with as much speed as possible. And then the last part of the identity, we have another left-handed uphill pipe turn. And then this last one. This is where we might see people fall out as well. It is definitely more difficult than it looks, guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing people drive this map here. Okay. We have 13 seconds until the map start. I am hoping that we see just a few people really risk the pipe sections, because you can drive fast and you can get those pipe sections very, very smoothly, but you might fly out very, very far, and that's unfortunate. Okay, let's take a look at Carl Jr. here in the middle of the pack. Going for a couple of left-handed turns. Make sure you don't enter this turn with too much of a drift. Very, very nice downhill landing right there, landing as early as possible. We see a couple of different lines on the wall ride. Some people elect to go high, some people choose to go low. Oh, we have the first mistake, and we have Massa making a mistake, flying out of the map. Unfortunately, Massa will not be in the top of this field. Everybody seems to do fine, but Papu and somebody else, Worker as well, making a mistake. Unfortunate for those guys. That's what I'm saying. These pipes are going to take out some of these people. We have the rest of the pack here, the top 8 players going into the rest of the identity. Let's see if they do this last pipe section smoothly. It does look like everybody seems to get it just fine. No major mistakes. When you jump off that last pipe section, you'll also have a chance to actually get a slowdown, which is what happened to Mime. And he actually lost the victory on that map because of that last in the challenger step. I'm pretty sure it was Mime. Gwen is already so far ahead. 0.5 almost ahead of Afi and Binks. Definitely some pace we see from Gwen right here. Scrappy only 700s away from the top 8, which is Pack here. Sorry, my voice. And let's see if we see anybody making some mistake. Nope. Everybody does so just fine except Binks, who actually fell out. I did not see it, but I could see it on the CP times here. Binks unfortunately falling out. And we have another victim of the pipe section. Then we have Orel, P6, P5, P6 trying to fight for this last section right here. Everybody seems to do it so smoothly. I cannot let you guys know just how difficult that is compared to how it looks. The top 3 players, we have Grenadi and Afi fighting against Gwen. Gwen is a full second ahead of the rest of the pack. Gwen is definitely utilized. And let's take a look at what Gwen is doing right here to make it so fast. Going for a middle line here on the wall ride. A little bit of an SD here on the dirt. You love to see it. And let's see if he makes any major mistake here on the pipe section. That would be the worst. It doesn't even look like he's slowing down that much. Gwen definitely just risking it for the biscuit, and it seems to pay off. More than a second ahead of second place, which is Afi. Grenadi, 1.7 seconds ahead. Carl Jr. now on a safe 9th place here. Really wanting to see if he can get that top 8. Only 7 points to his name. He's not in the top 8 in the total scores either. So he does want to push this as much as possible. Does not seem to get into the top 8 here in lap 4. Pack on top 8 though, trying to keep Carl Jr. and Spam behind him. Pack with 24 points to his name. Definitely a nice step for him so far. Oh, was that a mistake? I think that was a small mistake from Pack. He's going to lose a little bit of time there, and Carl Jr. is going to overtake him for that 8th place. Keep in mind, guys, that these players, they want to get as many points as possible in the first 4 maps, because that's where the points are. Another great section. Oh, Gwen unfortunately falling out, and Gwen is going to lose that 1 second lead, jumping all the way down into 10th place, right behind Spam. Gwen is now not contending for the victory anymore, and Bren is taking the lead more than a second ahead of Grenady. Grenady has made a mistake as well, and Bren is now in such a nice position for the victory right here, going into the second to last lap. Mutta here on P3. He really wanting to take those points with him. He also needs it. He's also not in the top 8 positions in the total standings just yet. But a position 3 for Mutta would definitely be nice for him. Afi right behind him. 42 points to Afi's name. Definitely a good step for Afi right here. Let's see if the top 4 players are doing well. You see Mutta really slowing down on the pipe section. Mutta is not risking it at all. Carl Jr. has fought himself all the way up until P4, I think. P3 maybe. Carl Jr. fighting with Mutta for that P3. That is what happened. Afi is just behind them still. Bren continues to have 1.5 second lead until second place. Very, very nicely done. Nobody gets the penalty, the acceleration penalty, and we have Pack here on P8, 1.5 seconds ahead of Spam. Afi really trying to extend the 42-point lead that he has, except like Gwen has 47, but you know, he will take the lead if standings keep like this. Bren did lose a little bit of his lead, but he's still a second ahead of second place and 2 seconds ahead of third place. You can see just how far ahead Bren is, and Grenady as well, actually. They're both just really leading the pack. You can see Afi really risking it right here. That is so fast. Mutta is slowing down so much in these pipe sections, making sure that he doesn't drop down. But then again, guys, you gotta remember, it is better to play safe than to play sorry. You know that getting that top 8 is more important than getting fast and getting the top 3. It's better to get top 8 than it is to get, to accidentally fail and get top 13, right? Bren getting the first place, Grenady getting the second, Afi getting the third, Carl Jr., Mutta, Aurel, Worker, and Pack. Very nice to see Bren and Grenady taking the lead with multiple seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. Very well played by these players. Very well played by these players. And we have Binks here, unfortunately, in last place. Binks did so well in the start of the map, and he completely lost all of his sauce towards the ending there. You hate to see it. And we're going to jump into the next map, which is the second to last map, boys. And I will show you just which map it is. It is Poolside. Let's take a quick look at Poolside here. Poolside is a pretty difficult map in my opinion. I used a long time to get the author time here. It is somewhat consistent for most of the map, but even though some of the map isn't in the identity, it's still very hard. We have a jump here, a sausage jump over to a left-handed drift. You want to make sure you preserve as much exit speed as possible. Jumping over to this little water section, make sure that you don't wobble too much in the exit of that section, because you can accidentally lose control of your car. A left-handed dirt drift into a sorry, my throat is a little bit, into a grass section, another dirt section, a couple of drifts. You really want to make sure you keep an eye out on your gears on this map. Another jump into some water section right here. And this is really hard. You want to make sure that you don't lose too much speed from drifting. And that is really hard not to do if you have watery wheels. Now going into the identity, you want to make sure you don't start drifting here on the plastic. You're going to lose so much time. So you're going to see the players actually slow down their car, and then go for smooth steering into the turns here. So we have 20 seconds to look at the people playing the identity. I can't see anybody do it. Yo, we have Binks going into the identity. Only has 10 seconds to do it, but it's nice just to see it. I don't think we're going to see it. It's 5 seconds. But you can see he's going to slow down. He actually elects to go for a drift into a straight line. That is a little bit faster, but it's also a little bit more risky. You can end up accidentally hitting the water too fast and then sliding out. Okay, guys. We're going into the first lap of Poolside. Everybody seems to be just neck and neck like you're expecting them to be here in the first round. Taking a look from the back, taking a look at Scrappy's perspective. Everybody does so just fine. Carl Jr. going for a really outside line. Is that going to give him more exit speed? I think it actually might do it. I've not seen anybody else do that line. Very, very nice to see Carl Jr. going for a little bit of an extra. Oh, we have Grenadi making a mistake. Oh, no. Unfortunately, Grenadi is already 6 seconds behind. Taking a look at this perspective from Worker so we can see if anybody else makes any mistakes. Scrappy actually does a bounce on the water. Doesn't even lose that much time. Very nice. Aurel going for an outside line. Let's see if anybody makes any mistakes in the identity. Looks like everybody does just fine. I don't see any major mistakes. Afi, unfortunately, hitting the inside line here. Afi is going to lose some time. Goes for the safe way in the start as well. So we have Afi and Grenadi making some pretty big mistakes here already in the first lap, but they can come back. Maybe not in the top 8, but at least get a couple of points more if they keep their head in the game. Taking a look here. Kappa also making a little bit of a wonky line right there. That's what I was saying. You can lose a little bit of control on your car in that section. Just looked like Kappa accidentally had that happen to him. Worker hitting the outside wall and is going to lose a bunch of speed as well as the speed penalty. But Kappa also hitting a wall, also losing a bunch of speed. Taking a look at the top 8 players right here. Very, very safe field. Pack going for a super outside line. He's going to get more exit speed right here. Let's see what people elect to do here in the water section. Some people drift, some people no slide. It does look like Tween gets a little bit more speed for no sliding. Going for an outside line here towards the identity. People are doing just fine. I don't see any major mistakes. Nobody is going to drift out so far. And the identity is driven cleanly by the top 8 players of the field. Mutta is right behind him with Bren. But Mutta is really close right behind them. Carl Jr. and Mutta already here fighting for that P8 in lap 3. There is a little bit of a gap from Carl Jr. down to Bren. We're talking 400ths of a second, but we've driven 2.5 minutes, and that's... did I just see somebody bonk? Was that Scrappy? I think Scrappy bonked. Unlocko for Scrappy. Taking a look at the top of the field here. Oh, Massa also making a mistake. You hate to see it, boys. We're seeing some stir-ups in the map here. Now we have Brent Pack on the 8th and 7th place. Binks has got a really good lead here, 0.7. And Spam in top 3 as well, fighting with Gwen for the top 2 positions. Binks is so far ahead. Want to make sure that he doesn't do any mistakes. He goes for the drifty line. That's very risky, the drifty, risky line here in the identity. But it does save a little bit of time. And it does look like the top 3 players are doing just fine. Actually, the whole of the top 8 players are doing the identity smooth as butter. We're not seeing any major rustles in the top 8 positions right here. Taking a look at Mutta once again. He is fighting to trying to get that top 3 positions. Spam in the top 3 with Gwen and Binks. Very nice to see Binks in the top. Mutta taking a little bit of a wonky line. He's going to lose a little bit of exit speed. Carl Jr. also overtaking. Carl Jr. getting a lot of exit speed. Not sure where he came from. Very, very nicely done. He shoots up all the way until 6th place. Oh, he actually got down a little bit there as well. It's a very, very tight fight. 4th, 5th, and 6th are between 1.1 second of each other, guys. It's a very, very tight race. We have Spam 1 second behind Binks and Gwen 0.7 seconds behind. Spam going for that drift instead of a no slide after the water section, going into the identity. Once again, looking at the top 6 players right here. Is anybody going to make any mistakes? Binks is once again going for that risky line, and he does seem to be the only one who does it, but it also seems to be paying off greatly. Very nice. He does gain 0.1 seconds on Gwen with that line in the identity. Bren is only 0.1 behind. Aurel getting that top 8 positions is super important. The second to last lap right here. This is where you also want to make sure you gain as much speed as possible. The last lap is going to be so hectic and the nerves are going to be there. This is where you want. Carl Jr. taking such an outside line, and you can see he actually gets a lot more exit speed. I think he's the only one who takes this line, but it does seem to pay off. Very nice to see Carl Jr. going for some alternate lines. It must be something he practiced on his own. Good to see, good to see. Mutta in top 3 with Spam. Spam and Mutta in top 3. I think we saw a little bit of a shake-up there. Definitely some nice lines going into the identity. Let's take a look at the top 3 players. Let's take a look at the risky line from Binks. He does do it perfectly. Spam right behind. Mutta on 3rd. Carl Jr. trying to overtake. Spam making a small mistake. He's going to lose some speed, and he's going to jump down to 5th place. Binks is still ahead. 1.1 seconds ahead of Mutta and Carl Jr. Carl Jr. really fighting. It's really nice to see Carl Jr. here in the top 3 positions. He is not in the top 10 or top 8 players in the standings so far in the Tmgl Step 4. So we want to see him do his best here. Hopefully he has cleansed his butt cheeks for this step. Taking a look at the top 2 positions once again. Spam, Mutta, Binks. Definitely a good fight. Taking a quick look at Tween here in P9. Really wanted to overtake Gwen. Really wanted to go up to that 8th position. Jumping into the next water section. We're nearing the end of the map. Let's take a look at the top 8 players right here. Actually, top 4 players. Who's going to take the win here? Binks is still in the lead. Mutta has taken 2nd. Carl Jr. trying to overtake, but Binks actually flying out, and that's what I was talking about. That's what I said. That is such a risky line. It's so much faster, but you also can accidentally get out, and Spam is going to take the 1st place. Mutta takes the 2nd. Carl Jr. takes 3rd. Pack 4th. Gwen 5th. Aurel 6th. Tween, Papu 7th and 8th. And Binks actually jumping all the way down to a div or P12. Oh no. You hate to see it. Binks had the lead throughout the entire map just to throw it away at the ending. Such an unfortunate series of events for Binks right there. But that's what comes with taking these risky lines. These risky lines are risky for a reason. They're faster, but you can lose a bunch of time. Now, this last map is a very, very interesting map in my opinion, guys. It's called Launchpad. And I am looking forward to showing you this map, guys, okay? So let's take a quick look into Launchpad. So this map features a bunch of plastic. Plastic is a new surface introduced in the last campaign, but this campaign is the first one to actually use the plastic in the actual campaign. This means that a lot of players might not be as experienced with it, and we might see a few different lines getting taken in the plastic, but all of the players have practiced so much to get here. We see a ice section right here where you got to do 2 ice drifts and a jump into the next section. You don't want to take too much of the inside penalty ice. Small U-turn right here with the reactor boost so you don't fly out. Driving on the penalty sand right here into a plastic section. You can actually utilize a small optimization called speed drifting right here, where you wiggle your car a little bit to make sure you actually drift as much as possible with a tight line. A couple of tight drifts into the identity, which is a jump through not 1 but 2 ring CPs and flying down towards the next lap. Definitely a difficult identity right here. I've also tried this identity. I have not once got the identity to work well. So just throwing that out there. Now, guys, remember that the points that you go into this the points you go into this map with are the points you can get multiplying on. So, for example, if we take Gwen, if Gwen wins the first round here, he gets the ×2 multiplier. The first 4 rounds is going to be ×2 multipliers. Then we have 2 rounds with a ×3 multiplier, then 1 round with a ×4, and 1 round with a ×5 multiplier, guys. Now, Papu is in the lead. If Papu gets... No, he's not anymore. But if Papu gets the ×2 multiplier, he's going to get 2 × 29 points, which is 58 points, and he's going to end the step with that. You cannot get multiple multipliers, guys, okay? We see Gwen here in the lead on the ice. Mutta right behind him. Mutta is definitely also a known ice player. Only the first position here is going to be important. If you're not getting first, you're not getting anything. So we're going to see some people DNF right here. For example, Papu just DNF'd because he knows he's not going to be able to get first, and thus there's no real reason to keep playing the map unless you want some practice right here, okay? Afi, Mutta, and Gwen fighting for that first place. It's also interesting to see if any of these players are going to DNF right before the finish line if they don't want the ×2 multiplier. Some of these players are going to go for the ×3, ×4, maybe even ×5 multiplier if they're really confident on the map. Now into the second lap, the last lap for this round. Binks is actually right here. So unfortunate that Binks didn't get the win on the last map right there, because he only has 8 points to his name. That is not a lot of points to get the multipliers on, and those 25 points would have been super important for him. Mutta, Afi, and Gwen, top 3 players right here. Both Gwen and Afi have more than 60 points to their name, so that's more than 120 points they get if they get the ×2 multiplier. The question is, are they going to go for the multiplier, or are they going to DNF and go for the ×3, ×4, even ×5? Gwen is in a tremendous 0.6 lead in front of Mutta and Afi. Going into this last identity jump, let's see who's going to make it. Binks also trying to get it in there. Going for a 180 turn. Gwen is actually going to get it, and he takes the ×2. No, Gwen actually DNFs and gives Afi the ×2 multiplier. Gwen does not want the ×2 multiplier. It is too little for Gwen. But Afi takes it happily. Afi gets the 2 × 63. That's 126 points. You'd love to see it. Gwen does not need the ×2 multiplier. He wants the ×3, ×4. Now, guys, this is also a mental game. Now, people know that Gwen DNF'd now, which means that if you are on second place behind Gwen, you know that you're technically still in first, because he's gonna DNF the next 3 rounds. Oh, but he made a mistake and he's back. Okay. Masa is taking the lead. It's such a close race in the beginning here. Papu getting a little bit too much of a drift. Not getting that much of the exit speed that he's looking for. Aurel, Kappa, Masa, and Binks fighting for the top positions right here. Unfortunately, Aurel clipping the inside wall. Kappa, Masa, and Binks, Mutta trying their best to maintain the lead right here. Kappa is only... No, he is not in the front anymore. Masa overtook him and is 0.1 ahead of Mutta right here. Binks really trying to push it as well, going into this first identity section. Let's hope that nobody makes any mistakes, but this is so difficult, guys. I cannot stress how difficult this is. Into a 180 turn, landing right here. Beautifully done by everybody. Binks actually overtaking the others with a little bit of a different line. Mutta was that Mutta? I think that was Mutta. Unfortunately hitting the, or clipping the jump right there. Gwen on first. And as we just said, Gwen is not going to go for that ×2 multiplier. And Binks and Masa is right behind him. That means that Binks and Masa know that these 2 players are the... What did Gwen just do? Okay, Gwen driving on to the left, DNFing, leaving Masa and Binks to fight for the first place. Binks currently in first, Masa right behind him. Let's see who gets into this section with the plastic the best. Gotta utilize the speed drifting techniques. Binks is on first, 0.1 ahead of Massa, but they're so close, it's not over yet. Going into these tight drifts right here, we have a couple of tight drifts. This is one, this is two, and then a right-handed turn. Binks is still in first. Going into this last identity part, we're looking at the 180 turnaround. Who's gonna get it the best? Binks does seem to be lower than Massa, and Binks is gonna get it. Maybe, no, Binks actually missed it, and Massa's gonna get the ×2 multiplier on the second round, getting those 94 points to his name. The question is if Binks intended to miss the finish, or if he did it on purpose, or if he accidentally did it. We can contemplate on that, guys. Binks does seem to have a pretty decent consistency on this map, and he only has 8 points to his name. So if he gets the ×2 multiplier, that's 16. He might be going for that ×5 multiplier so that he can at least get 40 points to his name. Gwen once again in the lead. Scrappy right behind him. It's a really tight pack right here. People trying to avoid that penalty ice as much as possible. We see Mudda up here as well. You want to land in as little of a drift as possible to preserve as much exit speed going out of that turn. We have Gwen in the lead once more. Pack right behind him. Kappa on third. Very nice to see. Getting these SDs in. Going in for the last couple of drifts before we see the first identity. Pack slowed down a little bit right there. Gwen also going for a little bit of a wonky line, I think. But it might be fine, I guess. Kappa and Pack. So many people making a mistake, and Pack actually gets the first place right here. So many people making a mistake at the ending, and Pack overtakes 3 people. Worker also getting the first, the contending for the first place. Grenadi is also up there with 61 points. Grenadi with 61 points can get 122 points to his name, just behind Afi if he chooses to get the ×2 multiplier. But Worker is in front. Spam is also trying to get it. We have not seen Spam get these multipliers before. We really want to see him trying his best to get this. Even a ×2 multiplier for Spam's name is going to be fine, but he unfortunately clips and goes out the map. Worker here on second, fighting with Kappa and Mudda for this first place. Kappa is in a pretty decent lead, 0.1 ahead of Worker. We only have a couple of drifts and the identity left. Let's see who gets the identity the best. Papu right here behind Kappa and Worker. Worker does not make it. Kappa is all alone in the start here, and Kappa does not want to get it either. No, he makes it. I'm sorry. He makes it, and Kappa gets the ×2 multiplier, getting the 48 points to his name. He was not going to DNF right there. Well done, Kappa. We only have a couple of more. We only have one more ×2 multiplier, and then we're going to jump into the ×3 multiplier, guys. And you already know that once we head into the larger multipliers, we're going to see people risk even more. Because those ×3, ×4, and ×5 multipliers, they're nothing to scoff at, guys. They're definitely super important, and people are going to risk their pants off to make sure they get those. So we're going to see some really nice lines going through, and really risky lines going through the next couple of laps here. But right now we see Mudda and P1. Unfortunately clipping, he's going to go down again. And Aurel and Grenadi now fighting for that P1. Very nice to see. Scrappy is in third. Oh, very tight field. Aurel has made a little bit of a lead for himself, but he cannot take it easy because everybody else is just behind him. Scrappy and everybody else going into the first identity. Binks right in front of him. Aurel, Grenadi coming out of nowhere. Aurel keeping the lead. Unfortunately clipping the outside of the the checkpoint right there, the finish line. And Scrappy now taking the first place. Binks right beside him, or behind him, and Grenadi right beside that. Very interesting. Let's see if Scrappy can take home this ×2 multiplier, or if Binks or Grenadi is gonna see if they can overtake. Going into the ice section right here, we have a left-handed drift followed by a right-handed ice drift. Scrappy not getting a lot of exit speed, making sure to land in as much of a straight line as possible. Grenade actually landing quite a lot of a drift, losing a lot of exit speed. Scrappy is maintaining the lead. Binks is really trying to overtake, and he actually does so successfully. Binks is now in the lead, but only by 0.02 of a second. And they're all neck and neck. Who's going to take the last couple of sections right here? We are looking to see who's going to do the identity the best. We're looking at less than 0.1 between the top 3 players. Binks is on the first place. Scrappy right behind him. We have Grenade making a mistake. And Scrappy actually going for the cut. And Scrappy taking the second, or the 2 times multiplier, overtaking Binks. Very nicely done by Scrappy. Nice inside line. I couldn't tell if Binks actually DNF'd on purpose, but nonetheless, a very nice line by Scrappy right there. Scrappy now ending his step with 70 points to his name. Top 3 in points so far. Now, guys, is where we're gonna see the top players really contend for the ×3, ×4, and ×5 multiplier. We have 2 laps or 2 rounds with the ×3 multiplier, and we're gonna, I think, see people go for this. I don't know if Gwen is gonna, yeah, no, Gwen is not gonna go for that. I don't know if Gwen is gonna DNF again. I don't know if he has planned to take the ×4 or ×5, but it is risky. Right now, I think is the best time to really go. Bren also making a mistake, taking a look at the top players right here. Tween and Mutta in the top. Mutta getting a 0.3 lead on Tween. Very nice lead. It does look like he's just chilling like Dylan the villain here in the beginning or in the front. Going into the first identity section. Tween right behind him. We also see Papu. Tween making a mistake. Papu is right behind still. Mutta is still in first place, keeping that almost 0.5 of a lead. Orel also making small mistake right here. So we're going to take a look at Carl Jr., Papu, and Mutta. They're 0.5 close to each other, but it does look like Mutta has a really nice lead, and he wants to make sure that he keeps this lead for as long as possible, preferably for the rest of the map. If he maintains this lead, he gets a 3 times multiplier on the 46 points that he has, and that's math. It's like 170 something points. Very nice. Mutta would definitely take that all the way to the bank if he can. It's not 170 something, it's 130 something, okay? Stop. It's 130 something. I've been live for a while now. Mutta is in the lead. Spam is just behind him. But Mutta is definitely 0.8 seconds ahead of the pack. All he needs to do is do this final identity, and he can secure himself a ×3 multiplier, and it does seem like he does so. Definitely saves the ending, and Mutta gets the ×3 multiplier, getting the 138 points. Please say that's right. Please say that's right. If that's not right, I'm embarrassed. 138 points. I'm so smart. I'm a genius. Well done, Mutta. Super well done. Okay. One more spot for the ×3 multiplier right here. One more spot for the ×3 multiplier. We're going to see all the players really try their hardest, because, you know, if anybody is saving their lines or saving that pace for the last couple of multipliers, you really need to get this one if you're not 100% comfortable with the map. If you don't believe that you have the same pace as, for example, Gwen. Gwen is in the lead once again, already 0.5 ahead of second place. Oh, and he makes a mistake, clipping the outside of the CP, and now Bren is in first place. Pack, Tween right behind him. This is making you think if it was a mistake from Gwen not saying yes to that ×2 multiplier, but I'm sure that he might just, you know, have fun. I'm not 100% sure, or you know, the nerves are getting to him. Tween making a mistake here. Pack on second place right behind Bren. They're both so close to each other. Pack actually getting a little bit more exit speed out of that booster right there, and they're neck and neck, less than 0.1 beside each other. Yes, 0.1 differentiating Pack and Bren right here for the ×3 multiplier, going into this drift, followed by a nice ice drift section. 2 drifts, 1 left and 1 right. You want to land as much straight as possible right here. Pack seems to land super straight. The same with Bren. We actually have Aurel fighting in here as well. So if Bren makes a mistake in the identity, Aurel has a possibility of taking that first place as well as the ×3 multiplier. But right now Bren has almost 0.1 to work with, but Aurel really trying to push it right here, going for the inside line, getting a really good drift, getting a really good second drift, and he's actually overtaking the first place. Is he gonna make the last identity here? Is Pack gonna go for the cut? No, but Pack actually overtakes here at the ending, and Pack gets the ×3 multiplier. Aurel making a mistake in the ending. Unfortunately, Pack getting more exit speed from the boost. And Pack is going to get a bunch of points here. I did not do the math, but we're seeing Pack ending up at 174 points, taking the first place of this step so far. Now, guys, looking at the ×4 multiplier, we're going to see people really trying hard now. And I know Spam. Let's talk about Spam. Spam really wants this multiplier to happen, and I hope for him that it's gonna happen. I am cheering on him as well tonight. Bren in the lead right here. Gwen already making a mistake, but it's not over for him. Gwen is one of the people with a really good pace on this map, so he still has an option to overtake the rest of the pack. Bren is maintaining a steady position here in the front. Binks, Carl Jr., Aurel in the front as well. Papu there as well. Really trying to get that first place versus Binks. Papu and Binks less than 0.1 away from each other. Bren also trying to get in there. Let's see what the top 4 players do for the identity. I think Binks might be too low. Binks is out. Bren and Papu top 1 and top 2. Carl Jr. actually getting top 3, getting a really good landing right there as well. And it's not gonna be over yet. Carl Jr. can still get this done, but Bren really wants to extend his lead. What happened right there? I think Bren got a slowdown somehow. I'm not 100% sure how that happened. And Papu is now in the lead. Carl Jr. right behind him. Only 0.08 of a section differentiating the two. Who do we have? Aurel also jumping in. Papu slowing down a little bit. Bren going for a really inside line. Let's see who gets the best ice slides right here. It does seem like Papu is getting the best ice slides, but he does land in a bit of a drift, giving him a little bit less of the exit speed. Carl Jr. also have made a mistake. He's now 0.7 behind Papu, and it's going to be either Aurel or Papu making this point or ×4 multiplier happen for them. Papu seems to be ahead by 0.2, and he's doing some really nice slides. Aurel really trying to push it here in the ending, and it's all up to the last identity. I think Aurel is a little bit too low. Really risky. Is Aurel gonna snipe Papu? And it actually happens. Aurel sniping Papu by going for a low line, and Aurel is gonna get the 4× multiplier ahead of Papu. Woo! What a great line by Aurel. What a great line by Aurel. Really risking for the low jump. And Aurel is going to end his step with 156 points. And the final round, the ×5 multiplier, guys. The ×5 multiplier. Let's see who's going to risk it for the biscuit. Let's see who's going to make it or who's going to break it. Papu so far is in the lead. Spam right behind him. Grenadi also trying his best to be up there. Gwen is now in the lead. Gwen really wanting this ×5 multiplier. Let's see if it was a mistake for him to say no to the ×2. He's in the lead. He's doing so fine. Grenadi is also really trying to overtake here as well. Getting a little bit more speed, but it does not look like he gets to overtake just yet. Papu here on 3rd place. Only 0.4 behind. Gwen has a healthy 0.2 lead to Grenadi. Is Grenadi catching up to him just slightly? No, there's actually getting more and more of a gap. Gwen is getting a bigger and bigger gap. Papu overtaking Grenadi right here. Papu going for such a high jump. Grenadi going for a lower jump. Gonna overtake once again. Gwen still holding that top 1 position. 0.4 ahead of the opposition. He goes so far up the wall. Is that going to give him more exit speed? I think it might do so. And Gwen is going to get more speed into the next section right here, extending his lead a little bit. Grenadi and Papu right behind him. Papu really trying to push it as much as he can, but it does not look like he's catching up to him. Actually, he's losing a little bit of speed. Now 0.5 behind. Gwen is extending his lead. Just 2 more ice turns down to this. Papu making a mistake. Grenadi is now in second place. We see Gwen with a very healthy 1 second lead down to Grenadi. Is he gonna make the last section happen? Is he gonna do the plastic section perfectly, followed by the 2 drifts, followed by the identity? Let's see what he does here. 1 drift, 2 drifts, and a turn. Going into the identity, he is more than a second ahead, 1.5 seconds ahead. He just has to not risk it at all. And it does seem like we're gonna say hello to the ×5 multiplier for Gwen. Very well played. GG's for Gwen, getting 5 times 68 points. That's 335 points if my math is quick and fast. Very nicely done. 340 points. My math is not great. Either way, well done by Gwen, and Gwen wins step 4. Taking a look at the standings, Aurel is in first, Afi, Masa, Grenadi. Aurel jumps up in first, Aurel jumps up in second, Masa and Grenadi jumping down, Scrappy staying on 5th, Gwen getting such a good step, jumping all the way up until 6th place, Mudda and Pack ending out 7th and 8th. Brent, Call Jr., Papu, Binks, Spam, Worker, Kappa, and Tween closing out the bottom 16 positions. Very nice step. Very nice step. It was a pleasure watching it, guys. Now, I will jump in here. Thank you. So, guys, it was a pleasure doing this step with you. I had so much fun. I hope you had fun as well. My name is Jnic. I've been your caster for today. Hope you enjoyed the cast, and I'm just so happy to see all of you guys support me here. Hope you hope you enjoyed the raid, or not the raid. Hope you enjoyed the cast. I'm actually gonna stream a little bit more on my own channel right now. So if you want to see more, I'm still gonna be here. You obviously don't have to. I'm gonna stop the recording.